And I think we are ready to go. Hi everyone and welcome back to another year and to another video here on this channel. My name is Lukas and I have never been more excited to announce the Taiwanese news for the past week, as Taiwan, together with the rest of the world, has put 2020 behind them and are now focusing entirely on the new year of 2021. And to celebrate a little bit extra and to kick off this year in the best way possible, we now have 2 cameras here in the studio, which hopefully will double the video quality and also doubling the chance of you hitting that like button and subscribing to this channel. We also have some other very exciting updates to this studio, which I think we will cover in more detail in a future video. So please make sure to hit that subscribe button and we will get started right away. So as I mentioned, the year 2020 is now finally over and it is time to look forward and focus on the first news of the new year 2021, which is that Taiwan is now issuing their first ever volcano alert. Sorry, can we get 2020 back? That's right, if you didn't know it already, then the area just north of Taipei and around Yilan are actually featuring 2 active volcanoes. And although the Taiwanese authorities for a long time have been prepared just in case there will be any issues with these volcanoes, this is the first time they're using the mass messaging system via the phone's notifications to inform the public just in a case there will be any unforeseeable events with these active volcanoes. But I don't think we have to worry at all, because if we dig a little bit deeper into these volcano news, then we see that their definition of an active volcano is that it has erupted at least once within the last 10,000 years. So I don't think we have to worry at all. Active volcano, but only once in 10,000 years. I was a little bit worried during Yuan's live stream where I made a New Year's promise, but if we're using the same volcano definitions, then I'm pretty sure that me as well will become an active runner and an active gym goer at least once within the next 10,000 years. But speaking about someone else who has felt a little bit hot and erupted recently is the married EVA air pilot who recently got fired for inviting women over to his place during quarantine. And just to be clear here, this is not the recently fired EVA air pilot from New Zealand who recently got fired for lying about his whereabouts after his 3-day quarantine when he and his girlfriend, female friend, was traveling around Taipei and he was unable to inform the authorities about his whereabouts. This is another EVA air pilot who, according to one of these women, claimed to be an American-born Chinese who apparently have met up and seduced at least 10 women, and at least one of them during a period when he was supposed to be in total isolation during quarantine. Now, I'm not entirely sure what is going on with these EVA air pilots, but I hope that they, just like the volcanoes we have up here in the northern Taiwan, cool off a little bit, get things under control, which, to be fair, they will have a lot easier to do now since the CECC has extended their quarantine from 3 to 7 days. After all this time, I finally learned that airline crew members only need to be in quarantine for 3 days, but the CECC are now extending that to 7. But I am pretty sure that we all know the reason for this and that we agree with the Taiwan authorities' decision to strengthen these rules and regulations. And this is just one of many new regulations that the Taiwanese government is imposing since Taiwan now has their first new local COVID-19 case in over 250 days. And some other examples of new regulations which the Taiwanese government are implementing once again are tighter restrictions at the border, which means that only Taiwanese citizens, foreigners with ARC or very special permissions are allowed entering Taiwan. Short-term business travelers will now once again become long-term business travelers since they have to complete the full 2 weeks quarantine before entering Taiwan. And actually all transfer flights to Taiwanese airports have been cancelled as well, which I guess is just as well since all the pilots seems to be fired recently anyway. Just to put this in perspective, let's leave the Taiwanese news for a minute and focus on the Swedish news, since Sweden also had their first local COVID-19 case since yesterday, because in Sweden there's 0 restrictions, 0 requirements, and 0 days with 0 local COVID-19 cases. But this might all be about to change, because the Swedish government recently decided to step it up and decided that starting from January 7th, face masks will finally be recommended. That's right, recommended, not mandatory, not required, recommended. And they're actually only recommended if you take public transportation during a weekday between 7 and 9 a.m. and 4 and 6 p.m. if you are born 2004 or earlier. Now, I agree that this is not a big change, but it is a change nevertheless, just like the Taiwanese minimum salary, which will be increased to 24,000 Taiwanese dollars starting from January 1st, or 160 Taiwanese dollars per hour for hourly wages. Does anyone know if this applies to Taiwanese YouTubers as well? 24,000 may not be too much, especially not if you're considering the rent situation up here in Taipei, but I would gladly take a minimum wage of 24,000 for making these YouTube videos week after week. Since, however, I'm pretty sure this is not the case, I am counting on your extra support and that you're watching my ads just a little bit extra, so I do get some not secured minimum wage income this month as well. And some of you have also commented in my previous videos that sometimes the ads you're getting is just simply way too long, and sometimes even longer than my video. And to all of you, I just want to say that I personally have no idea what kind of ads YouTube wants you to watch, but the way it works is that for every 30 seconds someone is watching my videos, I get a little bit of extra money from YouTube. So just like some other things in life, length doesn't really matter, but please try to last 30 seconds. But just to put this minimum wage in perspective, with this new minimum wage of 24,000 Taiwanese dollars per month, it would take you 1,521 months, or 126.75 years, to reach 36.5 million Taiwanese dollars, which is the average or median price of a house property in San Francisco, which by total coincidence is exactly what the Taiwan Ministry of Foreign Affairs bought to house their Taiwan office in San Francisco. Now, full disclaimer here, I actually have no idea what the actual price for this new Taiwan office is, but the ministry did say that they are looking to take advantage of changing marketing conditions to purchase suitable real estate at the best possible price. Now, I am by far not a housing price expert, especially not on the San Francisco market, but to me, this actually sounds like a pretty good idea that might work. And something else that is working is pretty much every single Taiwanese actually, because in November, Taiwan hit an 8-month low 3.75% unemployment rate. So since the unemployment rate is getting lower and lower, and Taiwan just continue to impress all over the globe, I think it's true what that fortune teller down in Yujing told me last year, that in order to reach success, you simply just have to put in a lot of work. And that is exactly what Taiwan and the Taiwanese people have done recently, especially when it comes to same-sex and equal rights. As I'm sure you are all well aware by now, Taiwan was the first country that legalized same-sex marriage in Asia. And if I am up to date, Taiwan is still the only Asian country where same-sex marriage is allowed. This of course means a great deal to the same-sex community here in Taiwan and to all of us who are supporting them. But this might actually have meant a lot more than you might think. For example, the same-sex couple that got married during the Taiwanese military mass wedding in October last year was one of the most defining moments of entire Asia last year, according to BBC. And on my personal side, one of my most defining moments last year, which by coincidence actually also took place in October last year, was when I started with this weekly news show where I'm talking about Taiwanese news both in local and international media. And although I'm putting in a lot of time doing this research every single week, this is a great way for me to stay updated on what's actually happening here in Taiwan, and it's also a great way for me to update and hopefully also entertain you week after week. And for 2021, I want to take this one step further. Not only having 2 cameras in this studio here, but I also thinking about maybe doing some more podcasts or regular live streams. So I'm asking you to help me sort out what I should focus on. So please help me by leave a comment down below, either live stream +1 or podcast +1, to let me know what you actually want to watch from this studio or from anywhere else in Taiwan during 2021. Regardless of what we end up with, I hope that you want to be a part of this journey. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button to stay updated as soon as I release new videos. And I have no idea where exactly we will end up in the end of this year, but I do truly hope that you will stay with me for the entire year. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas, starts with L as in like, ends with S as in subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in the next one.